car vlog live edition. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I just got off of work, so you guys know I'm on the way to get the kids. Nobody tells you today, remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. It's a wonderful Thursday. Make sure you subscribe to the Taking Home podcast, where I talk about wrestling topics, and I put in my matches as classic alpha professional wrestler of 13 years. Make sure you also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling. That is me and my wife's professional wrestling company. August 30th, next week, Dyer, Indiana, Harold's private venue, the 11th hour. 5 big matches. Tickets are $5 off on Eventbrite. There'll be $5 general admission, more at the door. Bar. So make sure you get your tickets. If you are in the Chicago area, if you are in East Chicago, Hammond, Dyer, in South Holland, in Illinois, Chicago Heights. Down the street from Chicago Heights is Harold's private venue. Make sure you get to see some great wrestling, get some food, get some stuff for your family, and everything like that, and come witness the ultimate experience at C3 Ultimate Wrestling. So, you guys see the thumbnail, and this WWE superstar, a lot of people have been behind him for years, and a lot of people have spoken highly of him, love his matches, love his charisma, and stuff like that. And then even when he had the show with his wife Bianca Belair, a lot of people loved him more because a lot of people seen like his personality and stuff like that. So a lot of people for the past few years, including myself, they've touted this man very high about being a future WWE megastar and main eventer and stuff like that. I'm talking about Montez Ford of the Street Profits. Now, I've gone on record many a times in videos for the past few years that I've said that I think that Montez Ford can be a main eventer and should be a main eventer in WWE. However, the thing that was holding him back during that time was the storylines. Roman Reigns had the belts for 3 years. Well, one of them 3 years, and then the Undisputed and merged the belts together and stuff like that. Roman Reigns was doing that stuff. At the time, Cody Rhodes was also chasing the title. And then it was also doing the World Heavyweight title introduction with Seth Rollins and the tournament and stuff like that. And it was just like, I knew that if we wanted him to like elevate in the main event scene, that wouldn't have been the right time. He just would have been just thrown to the side. He just would have probably had a good match at a pay-per-view, and then they would have just thrown him to the side and then just put him back with his partner, Angelo. What up, Judge? What you think of Dynamite? I didn't watch it, but I've seen like a couple clips, and it's kind of weird. It's like somebody showed me a picture. I don't know if this was last night. I like how Adam Page was like yoking up Ricochet. I don't know because I didn't see it. And then like I saw I read one segment where MJF had kidnapped Mark Briscoe, and somehow he's with another team because her syndicate kicked him out, and he had stipulations talking about this title match. It don't affect. I don't know. It's just a lot. I gotta sit down and watch it before anything. But going back to Montez Ford, especially like when he started getting hot, and a lot of people liked him. And he had opportunities. He's won against Roman. He's won against Seth one-on-one. He's had one-on-one matches. He's done fairly well. But I just knew that like that was just not the time. Okay, I'll try to look at the clips if anything, Judge. But at the time, like a lot of people was like, man, this dude is the future. This dude needs to be the one. They need to stop playing and like break up the Street Profits. Now, as far as the Street Profits is concerned, I would hate to see them like break up, obviously, but at the same time, I do think that Tez is the bigger star. Now, Dawkins is great at what he's done. He lost a lot of weight and stuff like that, and he has shown time after time after time that he belongs to be in the WWE. So I don't want to see them feuding with each other, because I do think that is a trope that I don't like with tag teams. Now all of a sudden one gets jealous or something or whatever like that. You can do that down the line, but they can like amicably break up. They can be like, hey, let's go after the tag titles one more time, and if we don't, then we're just gonna go do our own thing. That could work too. I mean, they had a title reign, and then they lost it to the Wyatt Six, a group of people who wasn't showing up to like TV like every week. Now they have them and stuff. So it's just like, to me, when the New Day is saying like the tag team division is dead, I kind of understand. It's kind of foreshadowing and stuff. They had a decent match at SummerSlam, but look at the cost of them having that match. But still, I think Montez Ford definitely they should. This will be the time. Will they do it? I'm very doubtful. I'm very very doubtful. Despite the fact that a lot of people and a lot of the fans, they say they listen to the fans and stuff allegedly. I don't think that they will listen because they are trying to push their own stars. And going back to what I'm saying, a lot of y'all can't blame everything that y'all don't like. Y'all can't blame it on Vince no more. You cannot blame bad decisions on Vince anymore. Do I think that Triple H is going to push Montez to the moon? He should, but I don't, because I do think that obviously he has his own superstars. He's going to push the Braun Breakers. None against Braun. He's going to push Jacob Fatu. Nothing against Jacob Fatu. But I think the guy that has been there a little bit longer, Montez, should do a great job. I think it would be a great job as a main eventer. So I do think that this would be the time. Seth doing this stuff with Punk. I don't know. They do magic, right? But so they can branch off and they can eventually do something with that. Somehow Montez gets drafted. I mean, Sammy just got randomly drafted to SmackDown. So why not have Montez just, you can break the group up like that. In a shocking and breaking news, Montez has been drafted to Raw. I say put him on Raw. Watch how people respond and they care for him and stuff like that. And to be even doubtful of pushes, I mean, you can even bring up the Karrion Kross situation. Even though I'm not that big of a fan of Karrion Kross, it's undeniable that these people was cheering for him and saying, we want Kross, we want Kross. And then Triple H talking about, yeah, you got Brock. Like, bro, darn well, they said they wanted Kross. See, this is the thing about exposing your business and being, quote unquote, too honest with your fans. Now, you're just sitting here and you putting yourself in a corner, and it's like you're skipping accountability to when it comes to certain things. What up, Robert Brown? Mr. IC Color. Don't care about Montez. And you see, this is the thing, right? And I'll say it, like I said, a couple years ago when we were saying this about Montez, it just wasn't the right time, because we know, and it's nothing against Montez, but they was making a lot of money with Roman, with the Bloodline, with Cody, and all that. And I was like, there's no way they're going to let Montez knock Roman out of the spot. It was a lot of people. Some people thought Sammy, some people thought Xavier. These are good candidates, but it was all for Cody. It's still a Cody show at this point. But now this will be a good time. This will be a good time to elevate him. He don't even have to be a main eventer. He can go for the secondary title. Let him go for that. Send him to Raw. Let him feud with Dominic. That'll be magic. Dominic is improved. I think it could be a good thing. Bro, Hunter don't like chocolate. See, and this is the thing. I've said this a lot of times. I'm like, hey, y'all was really happy when Vince left. Y'all was like, all right, yeah, this and that. You got a lot of black wrestlers that said that they enjoy working more with Vince than Hunter, than anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we can sit here, we can talk about the Vince doing certain things, saying the N-word, and we can say all of this stuff we want, and him making fun of people and all of that stuff, but you cannot just skip over the fact that Triple H wore blackface when they dressed up as the Nation. DX did. You want to sit here and tell me that Triple H couldn't have said no? DX is like becoming one of the hottest factions of all time. And even the Booker T thing. And I know I sound like a broken record, but these are things about it. Triple H is his daddy's son. Sure, son-in-law, but that's still his daddy's son at the end of the day. That man told y'all he don't see color. Now, do I think that every person that is white that say that, do they truly mean it? Yes. I think not all, but some. But I think with Triple H's track record, that's what messes up. First of all, it's a horrible wordplay. It's horrible wordplay to say that, because usually that's the first thing you see. Now, if you want to say you just care about like what the person says in the inside or whatever, yeah, sure, say that. But when you lead with, I don't see color, regardless if that's your good intentions or not, it just sounds bad. So you need to just delete that saying altogether. Just say, what can you bring to the table and stuff like that? Okay, cool, we see that, but what can you bring? Because there's a difference between supporting and pandering. And it's definitely, especially in this time in social media, it's more pandering than anything. So it is clear now. Oh man, it's a lot of y'all in the comments. Wrestling's okay. Old Texas, shout out to you, but nah, this is nothing. This is not the channel that we talk about that kind of stuff. I don't even really use that F word. When it comes to it, if you do not like what you hear, you can politely remove yourself. Thank you very much. It's clear. Brock Lesnar not cleared from the. Yeah, he's not clear. And that's the thing that goes into another thing. I don't want to make this more about relation to Montez, but you know they asked about it, and then Triple H said John Cena wanted Brock to be. He wanted to face Brock in his retirement tour. So you basically put everything on Cena. Hey, despite the allegations, because John Cena said that he wanted to go against a guy that has allegations, we're going to do it. Now, I'm going to sit here and I said it before. I don't think Brock did anything wrong outside of sleeping with somebody that wasn't his wife. Honestly. But still, shout out to you, Arshawn. What's going on, sir? Hunter is going to make Rhea champ. China redemption. It's TKO. Yeah, Rhea is like a legacy character for WWE. I think Bianca is too. So I will say that. I will say that. I think Rhea is definitely one of the ones. And I also think that they are definitely pushing Stephanie Vakura. I hope I'm saying her name right. They are going to push her to the moon. I wouldn't even be surprised if they do a swerve and let her win the belt instead of Rhea, honestly, because it's just like, when is Rhea going to get this belt back? That's what everybody was thinking, but they like Stephanie, so I think that. And wasn't Stephanie supposed to go against Naomi or something like that? So I definitely see that they'll do something with that. Fun fact: Mark Henry said when X-Pac found out what blackface was, X-Pac was crying. Brock knew what Vince was doing. He complicit. It's more to it than that, because Brock was also, I don't want to say he was manipulated because that's a grown man, but still, like I said, I don't want to go into more details with that, but still, this is exactly why you just need to stay at home. Go to work and go home. But going back to Montez, this will be a perfect time. Will it happen? I don't think so, but still, I don't think this is one of those cases where if he goes to AEW or something like that, they'll show what his worth is, because I don't even think AEW does a great job with certain people in certain situations and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? No diss to them, but it's just the truth, right? Montez, if you guys don't know, he's just dropped a video on his Instagram, and it's like he's talking to himself in the mirror saying, hey, you lost the title, you're losing stuff, you need to go back to yourself, or you need to do something before I do it. Like, I guess it's alter ego, which is weird, because me and Arshawn, we was just talking about it this morning. He said, like, dang, everybody has like a split personality now. Now, as much as I enjoyed the video, it is a good point. You have R-Truth and Ron Killings, and Ron Killings is the driver, and then somebody else is the driver, and then the Bailey situation and stuff like that. All of this stuff reminds me of T.I. versus T.I.P. Y'all remember that album when T.I. he went against himself, and they made videos and stuff like that, and then everybody on MySpace, yes, I'm old, on MySpace, that was like their MySpace name, Chris versus Chris Classic. Like y'all remember that? That's what is going on in like WWE. But still, I liked it. But at the same time, I do think that they could venture off on something else. Like, you guys gave him taste of being in singles competition against Seth, against Roman. He did a great job in the Elimination Chamber where he fell on everybody. Like, that was a crazy move and stuff like that. I think this guy has the talent and he has the charisma to be a successful main eventer. I hope it happens, but the way WWE does things, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I mean, look at even Jey Uso, for example. You can even say Jey Uso, right? Like, Jey Uso was a guy that a lot of people loved and was behind. And like I said, I wasn't mad that his title reign wasn't that long, but still, look at the situation that's going on now. So, just saying, it's good things to think about. The fam's doing great. 1 second, y'all. Oh, yes. Can I get a large strawberry Fanta, please? Okay. That'll be all. All right. So, man, I ain't gonna lie. They got Pop-Tart Frosties at Wendy's. That look kind of good, but I ain't gonna get it. 320. All right, got you. Here you go. All right, thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. You guys know, like, if I'm parched, I'm parched. Now I definitely need something to drink. Only way to get these kids. But yeah, Montez is definitely somebody that they could get behind. I'm doubtful, and it's not that he's not good enough. It's just that they don't. I don't see. I think that they just refuse to see his value, and I think that's like one of the. All right, thank you. All right, you too. I think that's one of the worst qualities is to like just not even see somebody's potential. Like how these influencers be doing when they get drinks, they put their hand in front. Anyway, I think that like they just don't want to see the potential in him or whatever like that. And like I said, it could be a great story that people can be behind because people love Montez Ford. This dude has one of the best frog splashes I have ever seen. The elevation and sometimes like how he turns in it, like he is up there with some of the greats doing a frog splash. And I just think that this would be a good time to do it. I mean, let's be honest here. He could have been a Money in the Bank winner. You know, Seth got it and cool. And I think Seth did deserve it because Seth has done a lot. Seth has been working hard and stuff. But now we're going back with CM Punk and Seth again. And then now other people are involved. Why not just trade Montez and put him part of the mix too? I don't think it'll hurt. I think it'll be pretty dope, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think it'll really work. I think Lesnar was feed about more women. Yeah, it's crazy. Rob Triple H. It's more like I remember going screaming to my father's in this battle with Bojack. Yeah, basically that's what it is. The family's doing good. Thanks, Rob. But that's what it is. It's just like a lot of people like, you know, they was already saying like, oh well, I can't wait for Vince to leave and Triple H take over. And remember, I said this in the video a couple days ago. A lot of people was like, oh, I can't wait for Triple H to take over because Vince, he's out of touch, he's out of style, and all of this stuff. And when Triple H takes over, it's gonna be different. We're gonna have a new main event scene. We're gonna do a whole bunch of stuff. Now look at us. We still in the same boat. That pop hit different when you ain't supposed to have it. Anyway. Woo-wee. But yeah, it just the same boat. That's his daddy's son, y'all. That's his daddy's son. You don't think he still talk to that man from time to time? Now, he may have the last thing, and I know TKO has their involvements because it's their money and their stuff and basically their business. But we're going to sit here and act like this man ain't talking to Vince. Oh, please, mister. See color ain't thinking about no Montez. And that's the thing. I like to be honest on this channel. I knew this would be a good discussion to bring up because a lot of us love Montez Ford. We like him. We think the guy is very talented and stuff like that, and we think that the guy could be a main eventer. Like I said, people have been saying this for years, and I'm glad that people are consistent with the love and support for him because WWE does a thing where people will eventually be like, okay, well, let's forget this person and let's talk about somebody else. People are still talking about Montez Ford. Like it never went away. It never went away. It never said, nobody ever said, okay, well, one and done or whatever. They're like, nah, man, when did Montez is going to do it? And then even when they changed up the Street Profits and stuff like that, people was cheering for him. Not even just for Montez, but for also Dawkins, because they like Dawkins. They like both guys. You can find something for both of these guys to do. If you want them to feud with each other, that could work too. I'm personally tired of seeing that kind of stuff with tag teams and stuff like that. Let's do it. Hey, we'll break up. You know, Y6 had a tag belts now. Okay, well, we see where it go from there, but still. Vince booking better than Triple H. Vince McMahon ain't no saint, but I see. And that's how I feel. Bobby Lashley have said the same thing. He said he felt better under the reigns of Vince than he did with Triple H. Bobby and Triple H is all close to the same age, and Triple H is a little older. So that says something in itself, right? And this that I don't see color question when he said that came because people talked about when he had those PLEs, and he had, I believe, 3 in a row where there was no black talent on the freaking show, and people got mad at it. I don't get that mad at it. However, I do get irritated when how people answer stuff, right? Because the way he answered it, I don't see color. It's about what you can bring and if you can be great and stuff like that. And it's just like you got guys like Montez for it. And I believe they were tag champions at the time. If I recall, I could be wrong. But you had black champions even then, and they wasn't even on the card. So when you say that kind of stuff, that's what irks me, right? That's what irks me when you sit here and you say a dumb statement like that. Because it's horrible. Why would you say something like that? You know? Dumb. But still, I do think that Montez, it's his time. Y'all, I don't beg other companies to do whatever they want to do with their wrestlers, but man, y'all will be missing out if y'all don't do that. It's time to make the new stars. Okay, we know that Braun, y'all elevating Braun Breaker. We know y'all elevating Jacob Fatu on SmackDown and stuff like that. Braun is on Raw, and Bronson is on Raw and all of the other stuff. But let's do something with Montez. Will I be shocked if they don't? No. Will I be shocked if they do? Yes. Because of the stuff that they do and how they do certain things or whatever like that. Like the public outcry for Montez Ford has to be like bananas, right? It has to be. And I'm not asking nobody to do anything like that, but still, Montez has showed that he can hang with the best. Y'all gave him a trial. Why do a trial like that when he went against Roman and Seth? Why even go through all that and not even use it? It ain't like he let y'all down. Did he mess? I think he messed up one thing in one of the matches. I think he overshot a dive or something. But come on, man. Roman just overshot, but it's Roman. I get it, but still. Very interesting to see. No normal person says, I don't see color. And that's the thing. It's like, it's not the best thing to say. It's never the best thing to say. It don't even matter if you are a person of color, I don't see color. Like, I get the intentions, but the execution is poor. I'm not even saying that you gotta say, I see color. That's the first thing I see. You don't even have to say that, right? But when you say, I don't see color, that's like, come on, man, why are you lying like that? Because we all, let's be honest here, we all have a preconceived notion about certain people when we see them. Honestly, we honestly do. Me, I look at somebody and be like, hey, I hope for the best. But at the same time, I don't know this person. We all have that kind of stuff. And for anybody to just act like that's not true, you're lying to yourself. You are lying to yourself. You have a biasness towards people, anybody. It doesn't matter if they look like you or they don't. But how you carry yourself and how you answer and how you react, that determines your character, right? Man, it's like I'm preaching. That determines your character, right? That determines how you do that. Because just because you have a generalization on somebody or a group of people, just because it doesn't mean that it's true until you interact with them or something like that. So we gotta stop with that kind of stuff where people say, oh, I don't see color and stuff like that. Stop it. Because if you don't see color, Montez should be in the main event, right? Because you're talking about people who work hard and who do all of this stuff. And I'm not saying nobody that's not Montez doesn't work hard, but I'm just saying, look at the fruits of his labor. Look at the fanfare. Look at what everybody likes. People were sharing a lot of the clips with Bianca and him when they had their show on Hulu, especially the point where he took her head off and the wig fell off. Now that was funny. Like, people was talking about this kind of stuff. They was interested in them. Same thing when Jimmy and Naomi was on Total Divas, and I talked about it. When I was watching Total Divas, I only wanted to see them for the most part because it seemed like they was the most authentic couple on the show. Everybody else is just a little crazy. I'm like, Natalia, she took some medicine and was scared to do a drug test because they can only take certain drugs, so she just like drove into a dumpster. Ain't no way she did that in real life. Like, come on, man. Like, what is y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Bianca Belair is being held back. I disagree. I do think that she broke her finger and it was nasty. She did break her finger, so she is taking the break. Before that, the situation with Bianca, Io, and Rhea, I think that Bianca definitely should have did something else because they obviously was trying to do something with Io and Rhea and stuff like that. Because low key, Io went from being the third wheel to being the steering wheel of the whole thing. So with Bianca, I do think that Bianca did have great championship reigns. She had great matches and stuff like that. And I don't think that she's done. And I do remember the last time she did win the belt before, not the time where Io cashed in on her, but a lot of people was getting tired of her reign. I wasn't, but I understood why people wanted her to lose the title because she had the belt for a long time and she was so dominant. It didn't even matter that the matches that she had, it was just we needed to see something else. Some people wanted her to be a heel. Some people wanted her to like just do something different. And, you know, I do remember that. So, all right, big guy, I got to go. All right, take it easy. God bless you, sir. Jade Cargill versus Bianca is a must set box smash. A lot of people are waiting on that. I am too. The thing is, we just got to see is, I don't want to say is Jade ready for it, but I know that a lot of people kind of got deflated with Jade after SummerSlam. Because the match was just a match. A lot of the matches was just a match. So it was just a match. I felt that what WWE has been doing wrong with Jade is y'all are not showing her as a powerhouse. Y'all are just showing her as just a superstar, if that makes sense. Y'all needed to show her as a powerhouse and stuff. Like y'all was showing like when she was going against women that were bigger than her, like Piper and Nia, yeah, she was picking them up and doing Jadeds and stuff. But then when she was going against women that was like way smaller, she wasn't throwing them around and picking them up and all of that stuff. She wasn't doing a whole bunch of stuff. Y'all had her doing more of an agile moveset, which is fine to do, but she's a powerhouse. She's strong. She's tall. She you know, it's like She-Hulk or China and stuff like that. So like even a SummerSlam match, it should have been for the most part one-sided, most of it on Jade's part, like manhandling this lady, even though she's the champion, and then her having the champion's advantage and stuff like that, taking advantage and finally like seeing where Jade messed up, then going into it instead of just going to tit for tat competitiveness. Nah, we should have had her just be plowed through Tiffany. So that's just my 2 cents on that situation. But whatever Bianca and Jade lock up, it'll definitely be good, depending on what they're going to do with Jade from now on. Because it don't seem like they're going to run it back, a rematch between her and Tiffany. So, ooh, wait, these long lines for this to get these kids. Y'all just don't know. I know some of y'all do. A whole private party comes to WWE. Private party versus Street Profits. Yeah, for what I've seen on AEW, Street Profits were very good. I mean, not Street Profits, Private Party. I like them, but I do remember, like, as soon as they won the belts, they lost them to the Hurt Syndicate. Like, it was like they just beat the Young Bucks, who had the belts for a while, and they just lost it. And, you know, AEW is just another one, how I feel about it when it comes to, like, certain situations, because Private Party would probably fare a little better, but who knows, man, at this point. I'm not shocked that people not being used to their fullest potential at either AEW or WWE. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. Excuse me. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I am not shocked that the two big companies in America, they are not utilizing some of the best people that they have. I'm definitely not. WWE with Montez and with a whole bunch of other stuff as well. AEW with like Wardlow. Wardlow was like one of y'all biggest guys that y'all had and stuff like that. Y'all didn't do that. How AEW treated Swerve Strickland's title reign. Didn't open the show when he won the title. Moxley, who had the New Japan title, opens the show, and then Swerve opens up the show. That's a secondary show. That's not even a flagship. Nah, it could go a long. It can go a long way. It can go a little crazy when it comes to certain things. When it comes to trying to push certain things and certain narratives and stuff like that, right? Definitely can. But yeah, Montez definitely should be. She should be up there. He should be feuding with the Browns and the Jacobs and stuff like that. But he shouldn't just be losing to him, if that makes sense. He shouldn't just bring him up. CM Punk for president in the United States. New Japan should dump AEW and start a new partnership with WWE. Well, shoot, it seemed like a lot of people doing that. Yeah, AAA and all this other stuff. TNA, I think TNA for the most part has benefited more from the WWE partnership than AEW. The AEW partnership was very one-sided because Kenny was the AEW champion and Rich Swann was the TNA champion. And what happened was Kenny was showing up to Impact Wrestling to promote his match. But Rich Swann, who was the TNA champion, wasn't even showing up on AEW. You want to know who was? The Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Ken Anderson or whatever his name is. Carl Anderson, one of them, the other guy, Machine Gun. Like, they was showing up because they was cool with Kenny and them because of the Bullet Club and stuff like that. I think it's Carl Anderson. But still, it was so one-sided. It just didn't make no sense. So then with New Japan, we'll see where it goes. I mean, Forbidden Door is not as rare as it should be. Forbidden Door should be like every other year. It shouldn't be like every year like a big event. But that's what they want to do with their company. That's on them. So AEW's taking advantage of New Japan. Well, I didn't know much about what was going on with New Japan, but I do know that like they went on it's Tanahashi, the new president, and apparently some people walked out because they didn't like his business decisions and stuff. So like now with them like working with AEW, like when I talk about the Forbidden Door, the first one seemed very, very special. It seemed very, very special. But then the thing was, a lot of these Japanese superstars and stuff who wrestle for New Japan, they was wrestling on Dynamite and Rampage and Collision and all that. They was already showing up to the pay-per-view. So how forbidden is the door if y'all leaving the door open? And there was a lot of them that was like that. They still do storylines and intertwine and stuff. And then even with ROH, that some of the stars from New Japan, they go there, or some of them go over to New Japan and stuff. So it's not even a forbidden door. AEW will get their A kicked by WWE this weekend. Are they competing this weekend? Are they competing? Because I do know like it's another event. They're saying like they're trying to compete with another AEW pay-per-view a few months down the line. But yeah, I do think that WWE will win regardless if the product is good or not. And I know a lot of people's like, oh well, they're only doing that because AEW they see AEW as a competition. I don't think it's that. They're just trying to make money, and they want you to spend money on them more than AEW. It's not even a competition thing. Back in the day, when WWE used to do shows like WrestleMania and all this other stuff, big shows, they used to try to tell the cities, hey, if y'all want us to come back, make sure other shows are shut down because we want the focal point to be on our wrestling show. We don't want nothing else to be done. We want no wrestling shows and stuff like that. And some shows, independent shows, be canceled. It's a different ball game now. These crossover pay-per-views should be a surprise. Yeah, the first one, shout out to you, SMP. Excuse me. The first one was dope. The second one, now every year it's a forbidden door, but the door's been open because they still be going from side to side all the time. Athena is Texas fed, Texas bred, Texas water, and Texas pride. As a man from Texas, Athena is a great wrestler. Now, her husband, on the other hand, her husband did some crazy stuff, so that's why I don't want to say I don't rock with her. She's very solid, but still, what her husband did was pretty wild. Athena will be the next women's champ. That would be interesting to see because she calls herself the forever champion in AEW because she's the women's champion and she's like the longest reigning. And, when Mercedes Moné didn't win it, will Athena win it? That'd be dope to see. I mean, it's cool to finally see Athena. See, it goes into the point. It's cool to finally see Athena back on AEW television because she was the ROH Women's Champion for a long time, but all the other ROH champions were showing up before she did. The six-man, the tag, the heavyweight, all of them except Athena. I was like, why is Athena just regulated just to ROH when everybody else is showing up on AEW television? Things that make you go, the Timeless one will get smoked up. I like Timeless Tony. I don't like some of her promos. Like, I understand she's raunchy and it's more for adults, but golly, can you tone it down some? And why she keeps smelling people? why is she smelling women? Like, and why is this women letting her smell her? Like, what's going on with wrestling, man? Y'all letting this lady just sniff all on y'all neck and wigs and stuff, and y'all just like, who? Like, what is it? Is it Maybelline? Like, y'all gotta let me know what's going on. Athena defeated Mercedes Martinez. Yeah, she did. But that's what I'm saying is that after she did that, she wasn't on AEW television. But a lot of the AEW women's champions, they were. I mean, a lot of the AEW champions was showing up on Collision and all of this other stuff. So that's just what I'm saying about it. I can't wait till she drops the RH title. But like you said, I'm glad Athena, formerly known as Ember's, getting her shine. I'm old school wrestling like Mid South UWF and World Class Championship Wrestling. Yeah, those. Yeah, I like looking at some of the old school formats of that kind of stuff. Right? I thought that was pretty cool and pretty dope. I kind of put that aesthetic when I look at wrestling and how I carry myself as a wrestling promoter with C3 Ultimate Wrestling. Because back then it was more of a decorum of having a wrestling company, and you tried to protect the business. You know, you want the best things to happen so the fans will buy tickets and bring family and stuff, but it's just like a little thing. To me, I think a lot of wrestling etiquette has went away because a lot of people's like, oh, well, the old school is just the old school. Now this new school is way different. So, but still, the dynamic duo Chris Adams and Gino Hernandez and the Rock and Roll Express are my favorite tag team. Oh yeah. I was just hearing. I just watched the video of Jim Cornette. He was just talking about the rock and roll and the Midnight Express and stuff like that. So, yeah, the old school thing. It was just like larger than life characters. But I did want to speak about that with y'all for a little bit. Thank y'all for rocking with me. I know we went off on other things besides Montez and stuff, but still, Montez for main event. But I ain't shocked if they don't do that for that man. But what do you guys think? Even if you see this after this live, leave a comment and we will talk about it. Shout out to y'all. This is Chris Classic, and let's take it home. Let's see. CM Punk and the Straight Edge Society will make America great again. That's cool. All right, you guys. You guys have a great one.